Okay, here's my Kindle Paperwhite. I like this thing, I love this thing for a lot of different reasons, but there's one thing that really drives me crazy about it. It is the backlight on this. I think it's a little bit gimmicky. You can make it brighter. You can make it dimmer. And really you can read it whether it's bright or dim if you're in a light setting with daylight out there. The difference is this light that's inside of it makes the background a little bit whiter if you have the light on. Let's go into a dark room to see how this works. So this is great if you are trying to read in the dark and if you want a light on. Very helpful. Once your eyes get adjusted to the dark, you can turn this down to a lower setting. What if you wanted this light all the way off? You would think that by lowering this bar all the way down to the bottom, that light would go off, but it's not off. It's hard to see this because the camera is not very sensitive in dark light, but I'll show you a picture taken by the light of this on what looks like a setting of zero light is actually not zero light. Okay, so why won't the light go completely off? Nobody really knows that, but it doesn't. Probably the engineers who built this said, we don't need to have a light turn off. There's just no reason for it. Well, a lot of people want to turn this light off for different reasons. I'll explain later why I want to turn the light off, but first of all, let me show you how to turn the light off. It's not easy and it's not self-explanatory, but there is a fairly easy way that does not require software or hacking to do this. To understand the solution, we have to understand how the case and screensaver works. This is a case made by Finty, and it has two magnets in it. One magnet here, which holds the case closed, but it also has one magnet here, which activates the screensaver. So when I close this, the screensaver is enabled. Now you can't see it, but when I open it back up, it turns the screensaver back off. Let's look at this and see what's happening. Inside of here, now I have used a knife to remove the covering from this so that I can see this magnet that's inside of there. I've also marked on this side where that magnet sits against the Kindle. If I set the magnet right on this spot here, it goes into screensaver mode. When you take the magnet off, it goes back into reading mode. Cool, huh? Well, here's the deal. When you put the magnet on this and it goes into screensaver mode, not only does the screensaver turn on, but the light turns completely off. That makes sense because you want the light completely off when you're not using it so that it's not wasting batteries. This is where this ingenious hack comes into place. So you can disable the screensaver by going into your search menu and you type in here tilde DS, tilde DS, disable screensaver, and then press enter. Now go back to my book. Let's say I'm reading it with the light way up. I'm reading my book. I now close the cover of the book, which should enable the screensaver, except I've disabled the screensaver. Since the screensaver is disabled, when you put the magnet on it, it still turns off the light, but it does not turn off the screensaver. Your ebook is now completely dark, absolutely no light from the Kindle. The Kindle is also still completely functional. You can turn pages, you can look up words, in your dictionary. And this is the thing, of course, that I love about the Kindle Paperwhite is the built-in dictionary and the ease of going from one dictionary. For example, I'm in a Spanish book. It defaults to opening up the Spanish dictionary, but I can go in and quickly change to a different dictionary, English-Spanish dictionary, and I can go to my vocabulary builder and look at all the words that I've looked up and review them. Turn the screen back on. There we go. Now the only problem that I've noticed when you are using this hack here is that to undo this, if you want to go back into normal mode of the Paperwhite, you can put your magnet back into here. You can either tape it in place here if you want the light on off all the time. Tape the magnet down right there onto your place, and then notice if you use the magnet from your case, then there'll be a hole left there that fits right over the magnet here, so you can still open and close your case even when the light is off. Here's the only thing that I've noticed that could be a minor problem with this fix here, is that in order to go back into regular mode, you need to re-enable the screensaver, you need to restart your Kindle. So you need to go down here and let me see if I can do this. Push and hold the button. Wait a little bit. There we go. Now once it's restarted, it'll go back. The screensaver will work just as before. Magnet enabled screensaver does not turn off the light. But when I go back to my book, it will not remember the page that I was on when I was in the screensaver disabled mode. So if you're doing this and if you think you'll be restarting it at some point in time, make sure to bookmark the page that you're on. It's the only problem I've seen. Who cares? Who cares that the light doesn't turn completely off? There are probably thousands of forums on the internet with people saying, I can't turn the light off on my Kindle. And somebody else says, who cares? And the person answering usually says, oh, I want to use less batteries on my Kindle. And then the other person replying says, if you put it on the lowest light setting, it really is insignificant the amount of batteries it uses, so who cares? Well, I have a completely different reason for why I want to turn the light off on my Kindle. It is about my marriage. Yes, my marriage. Bear with me just for a moment. Let's go back into the dark room. Okay, imagine I'm trying to read my Kindle at nighttime in bed with my wife next to me. Now, I have it on its lowest setting right now. I really can't read it at this setting very well. I can, but it strains my eyes. So, in order to read, I have to turn the light up a little bit. Maybe turn it up to this setting. 4 bars, something like that. That's now comfortable enough for me to read. Yeah, it looks dim in the camera here, but for me in bed with my eyes adjusted to the night, this is fine. The way that our eyes work at nighttime is that we are actually more sensitive to white light in our peripheral vision. So if you're trying to sleep over here looking in this direction and there's somebody with a white light over on the side of your eye in your peripheral vision, you actually see that white light as brighter than if you are the one who is reading that book trying to read it, because at the center of your eye, the fovea, does not see white light nearly as well as the side of your eye. So that's because your fovea is packed with cones, which see color very well, but do not operate very well under dim lights. The side of your eye, your peripheral vision, your rods, do not see color very well, but can detect black and white, can detect white light, and detect it very sensitively. So your partner in bed, while you're reading, you're keeping this light up bright enough to see it well, to be able to read it. Your partner is actually seeing it brighter through his or her peripheral vision. Now, astronomers have an interesting solution to this, and that is we turn all white lights off, and we turn a red light. Let's see. And we turn a red light on, and we do things by red light. Your cones are sensitive to red light, but your rods are not sensitive to red light. That means when I'm reading with a red light bright enough for me to read this book, my cones in my fovea, in the front of my vision here, can read that book just fine. But in peripheral vision, my partner can just barely see that light because her rods are not sensitive to that red light. Also, reading with a red light does not affect your circadian rhythms like reading with a white light does. So try this out. Get some sort of a red headlamp and read using that red headlamp, and you will not disturb your partner in bed nearly as much as using a white light. The problem with the Kindle is this white light is always on. It's always leaving this little white glow in the room that you can see. Reading with a red light, the room looks black except for just the thing that you're reading. Even though the room is filled with red light, you just can't see it. So what it actually looks like to your eyes in bed is something more like this, a mixture of red and white.